Are you or someone you know a victim of a car crash, or a legal professional seeking help in a crash investigation case? Look no further than IBF International. At IBFUSA, we specialize in at-scene crash evidence preservation, evidence analysis, crash reconstruction, and court testimony. We have over 20 years of experience in at-scene and post-event crash investigations in most of Southern Africa and the rest of the world. We not only provide assistance to crash victims and legal professionals, but we also offer training to those who wish to pursue a career in crash forensics. Our goal is to empower our clients with the knowledge and tools they need to navigate the often complicated world of crash investigations. Our slogan is IBF International. The facts speak for themselves, and we stand by it. We provide expert guidance and assistance to help you with insurance repudiation, expert testimony, and trial assistance. We believe that the facts should always be the driving force in any crash investigation, and we are committed to providing you with the most accurate and thorough analysis possible. If you're looking for an expert to guide you through a crash investigation, look no further than IBFUSA. For more information or to engage our services, visit our website at www.ibfusa.info.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Sim Experience SA IBF USA GT3 World Series. This is round 4 coming to you live from IMOLA in Italy. Thankfully, we're not affected by the flooding that is currently happening there in the real world. The virtual world, we don't have that. We could simulate it, but that would be in bad taste. So, prayers go out to the families of all the people in IMOLA. Hopefully, they get to watch this and get some form of racing today. But welcome everybody. Of course, this is the 4th round of our 10-round championship. Next week we'll have Long Beach in America, then we'll have Spa in Belgium, then Mexico, which is in Mexico, Montreal, which is Canada, Sebring, which is in America, and Monza, which is back to Italy. Just a quick wrap up of our points, how it works. I'll just leave that on the screen. You can all go through that. We have separate points for the sprint race versus the feature race. And then, of course, our championship, we have a pro class, which is currently led by Chris Collison, and in second place, Stanton Augustus. In third place, Jason Underwood. So Stanton has managed to pip Jason and Timo. So Timo was in third, is now in 4th place, and Jason has moved down to 3rd place, but Chris maintains his lead. And then in the veterans category, Marius van Wyk still leading the veterans, but Harvey Goos has now managed to pip Andre Hildebrandt. So Harvey up to 2nd place. And we can have a look at the actual point standings for the championship. Chris Collison currently on 116 points from Stanton Augustus, 98. Jason Underwood on 92. Timo Smith now down to 4th place on 79. Then Jean-Louis du Toit, Sean Olivier, Gerrit Bukes, who actually has a grid place penalty today. Yandre Dupinard, Julian Brains, Peter Murray, Donnie Bellafronte, Adrian Null, Rian van der Westhuizen, Sean Johnson, Peter Caldenes, Richard Celia, Vessel Viljoen, and Wayne Kruger. That is our top 18. Drivers are currently on track at the moment, so we're going to transition directly to qualifying. So, welcome everyone. This is now official qualifying. This is the qualifying for round 4. It is the 21st of May. This is a 15-minute qualifying session. Drivers have a chance to do everything they can to get their best lap within the shortest span of time. This sets the grid for the 6-lap sprint race. The 6-lap sprint race will set the grid for a 60-minute feature race. So the drivers need to try and do the best they can do to at least get extra points. The feature race does get double the points of the sprint race. just have a quick refresh of our championship at the moment. I will just have it up briefly so you can all just maybe pause if you want to watch it. And then also our team standings, which is currently led by Team Harder Racing. Now Fach Autotech Esport has now jumped up to second place, Minions Racing in the third place, PZN Racing, PZN Panel Beaters, BP Racing, Thorax Racing, PZN World Mech Racing, Team High Revolution Racing, Sim Experience SA, Midnight Code, IBFUSA, SRC Motorsport, Team High Revolution Roadside, and GDR Racing. That is our top 15 currently after the Mategi round. Alright, so we can get things up and running now. We're watching Yandre Dippenaar. Let's get our tower up. Let's get some timing going here. Unfortunately for those watching, you'll be aware that this is not live. Unfortunately, lots of issues with the internet once again. Since my move, my ISP just doesn't seem to be able to cope, so that will be changed from next week. It was hopefully going to be done by tonight, but it unfortunately wasn't. So we're watching Yandre Dippenaar. Let's see how this lap progresses. We can jump to the other drivers shortly. Of course, our championship is sponsored by IBFUSA. If you have any crash investigation requirements, you can head over to ibfusa.info. Of course, the head of IBFUSA is one of our drivers, Stan Bezednote, driving a Ferrari 488. While we're watching Yandre driving around, I'm just going to see if we can catch up with Stan quickly. So that is Stan. Personal best first sector and average middle sector. We're just waiting. At the moment it's just myself, Dennis Mitchell, the commentator. I did not introduce myself, so apologies for that. Sean Woodgate is with us tonight. He's just doing a few changes quickly, so he will be with us shortly.
I'm back, Dennis.
Hey, welcome back, Sean.
Yeah, all done. So, good evening, everybody, and great to be here. Hopefully we have a good night's racing.
Just watching Jason Underwood currently in... He's actually moved over there. In provisional pole position. Oops. A lot of drivers actually in the pits at the moment. Someone driving off track there.
Not much time left to put in a lap. So...
Current times, by the way, at the moment we have Jason Underwood on a 141.9, hitting Timo Smith on a 42.5, Yandre Dippenaar a 42.8, Stanton Augustus a 42.8, Jean de Toy a 42.9, so very, very close. Chris Collison only on a 43.0. I know he's capable of a low 141 in practice early. He had done a 41.2, I believe was the time. So expect a much faster time from him. Adrianel, likewise, he's likely going to pop in a fast time. Those are maybe just out laps that they're basically just warming up the tires, or banker laps as the guys like to refer to it as.
Interesting to see there are only 2 cars running on the medium compounds. Everybody else is out on the soft.
And Sean Olivier driving right now. Unfortunately, he had a problem joining the server, a weird technical issue, so managing to jump in last minute, so hopefully he can get up to speed nice and quickly. He's one of the faster drivers, so let's see how this progresses for him. At the moment the times aren't being lit up by anyone. I'm just looking at all our sectors. We have a couple of greens but no purples. Purple being fastest overall. Green is personal best, so very, very few personal bests at the moment. Nothing too amazing. Just waiting for the final few minutes is when everyone seems to put in their best laps.
Just over 7 minutes to go in the quali session.
Perhaps now is also a time to welcome one of our newer drivers. We have Dirk Kutzer with us tonight. So welcome, Dirk. Dirk's teammate Donovan van Mark, not here tonight, unable to make the race tonight, but will join us from the following rounds.
I was about to say that Donny Bellafronte from in the Porsche is down. He's still actually quite lower down than we expect him to be. He's in 17th, but he was as low down as 23rd, 24th. So he's also just getting up to speed with that Porsche of his.
That's probably my favorite skin in the field at the moment, I guess, because it's pretty much represents almost identical to what the real world car looks like.
His teammate is in car number 997, fourth in qualifying at the moment, Stanton Augustus.
And just heading out of the pits as we see that now. Someone coming past in the pit lane at the moment. I believe that is JP Celia. I haven't seen much of JP, so perhaps we can jump to JP. He's the only driver driving the McLaren 650S. We have one other McLaren, which is Sean Johnson, which is a 720S. So currently 28 drivers in the field.
I think, Dennis, this is probably one of the few circuits, or the only circuit that we've seen to now, where I was watching some racing just to get the lay of the land of this circuit, that they might even get into sixth gear before they go into, which is effectively turn one, which is Tamburello, that chicane.
Yes. Perhaps we should watch someone and just have a look at their gearing and see what gearing they are using. Let's perhaps follow someone. Oops, yeah, there we go. Let's go on board with Timo Smit. He's in sector 1. I believe that's turn 1 he's just navigated. Perhaps we can then just change the information that we are shown. Now we can see his inputs plus his gearing. So currently in second gear.
It's way down the bottom end of the circuit at Tosa, where they then go up the hill towards Piratella.
Is it then Tamburello after that, or am I?
Piratella, then Aqua Minerale.
Aqua Minerale, okay, right. That's
Yeah. Aqua Minerale is like a right and then a funny sharp right-ish hairpin. Not quite a hairpin, but it's a right and a slight left. There's the right, takes a lot of curb and a slight left. And then into Curva Fausto Crusini, which is also a mini chicane, right-left.
quite aggressive curbs. They're quite high on the inside, so it does throw the car a bit. Ooh, unfortunately, he's abandoning his lap. So let's jump to perhaps to Stanton to see. He's also just starting a lap. Let's see what sort of gearing he's using.
Does he get into sixth gear?
There, I think it was only fourth.
Now, the funny thing about IMOLA circuit, 4.9 kilometers worth, is it doesn't actually, well, it has one bit between Tamburello and Villeneuve-Kona that's straight, but other than that, everything is curved. There's hardly any, even the main straight going past the grandstand has right hand, well, left hand, so it's also not straight, so it's a very strange circuit layout, but it seems to be a nice track to drive.
Looks like one of the harder drivers behind him. I believe that's Jason. Jason currently provisional pole. His teammate Chris is currently in second, so he has jumped up, and Adrian in provisional third place at the moment. So the two, Chris and Adrian, have indeed jumped up.
Yeah, Timo's the Corvette, and he gets that car to go, and he's been top 5 contender virtually in all the races that he's competed in. I think he missed out last week, the Minions racing car. So that's what probably meant his decline in the competition, but certainly he's running fourth at the moment, and where the gap between first and second was about 0.6 of a second, it's now teammates, Jason Underwood and Chris Collison, only separated by 0.18 of a second.
With Jason in sixth gear, by the way.
Okay, so he does. I did spot it correctly to see that somebody does actually get into sixth gear.
But Jason currently sitting on a 141.7 at the moment, and Chris on a 42.0. But Jason with quite an advantage at the moment. Ooh, as I say that he just goes off. So let's head off to Arden, who's also on a personal best in Sector 1 at the moment. Sorry, no, I'm looking at the green from his throttle. Let's actually have a look at his lap times.
As
So no, not improving at the moment.
I think he had a green in the one sector, and then the other two sectors didn't work out that well.
Alright, so Jeandre de Toy, how is Jeandre doing? He's on the outlap, about to start the lap. Just over a minute left to go. We have a yellow flag briefly. So Jeandre, I believe, currently 5th in the championship. Having had a bit of a rough start, definitely came good the last round.
Yeah, he's 6th in at the moment, and as you say, he's out. Stanton had his last lap and best lap, as did Chris Collison. So Jason Underwood leads by 0.14 of a second, first to second, and the top 5 are separated or within the same second.
So this could be a decent lap, only just under 2/10 shy in the first sector, so definitely can improve. Currently sitting about a second shy of the lead, so if he's able to improve a couple of tenths every sector, he's likely to jump up a place, possibly 2. Maybe he can steal 4th place.
Jeandre de Toy, car number 737, which I termed the Boeing Brigade. I don't see 777 out on track tonight. I think it wasn't out last meet either, so for some reason not running.
Yeah, not too sure. Monet was on track at some point. As we see, the checkered flag has come out.
So then this is the last lap for Jeandre. Let's see if he can make it count.
So our top 4 have all pitted, so this is a nice driver that is still on track. Oh, apart from Stanton, actually.
He's got 2 greens in the first and the second sector, and he jumps up to 4th.
Brilliant.
So the last lap for him was his personal best, a 142.586, and puts him in 4th position.
And Jeandre Dupinard has jumped up to 5th place. Timo has been demoted down to 6th place. Stanton still on the lap, also personal best, sector 1. Must have just crossed the line in time.
Yeah.
Currently sitting in 7th place. He is 2nd in the championship, so definitely needs a bit more pace than this. Although it does tend to be a racer rather than a qualifier.
He certainly does well in the 1 hour endurance race. For him, that's nothing unusual. They run 24-hour races, so nothing strange to see him do well in the race itself.
So showing 2 greens. What's his time going to be? 42.7 currently. What's he going to jump up with?
He needs to beat a .588.
And he didn't get it. It's another 42.7. So I believe that's the last driver on track. So let's jump to an ad break and we'll be back shortly.
Until then.
Are you or someone you know a victim of a car crash? Or a legal professional seeking help in a crash investigation case? Look no further than IBF International. At IBFUSA, we specialize in at-scene crash evidence preservation, evidence analysis, crash reconstruction, and court testimony. We have over 20 years of experience in at-scene and post-event crash investigations in most of Southern Africa and the rest of the world. We not only provide assistance to crash victims and legal professionals, but we also offer training to those who wish to pursue a career in crash forensics. Our goal is to empower our clients with the knowledge and tools they need to navigate the often complicated world of crash investigations. Our slogan is IBF International. The facts speak for themselves, and we stand by it. We provide expert guidance and assistance to help you with insurance repudiation, expert testimony, and trial assistance. We believe that the facts should always be the driving force in any crash investigation, and we are committed to providing you with the most accurate and thorough analysis possible. If you're looking for an expert to guide you through a crash investigation, look no further than IBFUSA. For more information or to engage our services, visit our website at www.ibfusa.info. Are you or someone you know a victim of a car crash, or a legal professional seeking help in a crash investigation case? Look no further than IBF International. At IBFUSA, we specialize in at-scene crash evidence preservation, evidence analysis, crash reconstruction, and court testimony. We have over 20 years of experience in at-scene and post-event crash investigations in most of Southern Africa and the rest of the world. We not only provide assistance to crash victims and legal professionals, but we also offer training to those who wish to pursue a career in crash forensics. Our goal is to empower our clients with the knowledge and tools they need to navigate the often complicated world of crash investigations. Our slogan is IBF International. The facts speak for themselves, and we stand by it. We provide expert guidance and assistance to help.
All right, welcome everyone. We are back. And we are live for the sprint race. So this is the Sim Experience IBFUSA GT3 World Series Round 4 coming to you live from IMOLA. Although I say live, it'll actually be a recording, so it won't be live. This is the sprint race. It's a 6-lap sprint race. I'm your commentator, Dennis Mitchell, and I'm joined once again by Sean Woodgate.
Good evening, everybody. We hope to see great racing tonight, as we have done all season so far.
And this, of course, is round 4 of our 10-round championship. A quick rundown. What's next? We have Long Beach, then we have Spa, Mexico, Montreal, Sebring, and Monza. And a quick look at our championship. In the Veterans Cup, we have Maurice van Wyk leading from Pavicos and Andre Hildebrandt. In our professional division, we have Chris Collison leading from Stanton Augustus and Jason Underwood. And a quick look at the points. Chris Collison with quite a good advantage over Stanton Augustus and Jason Underwood at the moment. Jason, of course, been away for a race or two because of work. His cricket season, I guess, has started. And then we have our team standings. Now we'll get through to the starting order shortly. So starting in pole position, we have Jason Underwood, Team Harder Racing, Chris Collison, Team Harder Racing, Adrian Nell, Midnight Code, and Jean-Louis Dutoy for PZN Racing. In 5th place, we have Yandre Dupenar. 6th place, Timo Smits, Stanton Augustus in 7th place, and in 8th place, Sean Olivier. In 9th place, Richard Celia, 10th place, Peter Geldenes, 11th place, Julian Brains, and in 12th place, Rian van der Westhuizen. In 13th place, we have Peter Murray. In 14th place, Adib Gamildian. In 15th place, with a 5th place penalty, Gerrit Bukes. 16th place, Antonio de Lima. In 17th place, Dani Stander. 18th place, Wayne Kruger. 19th place, Sean Johnson. And in 20th place, Marius van Wyk. 21st place, Donny Belafonte. 22nd place, Dean Ash. 23rd place, Andre Hildebrandt, and in 24th place, Wessel Viljoen. Always forget Dean Ash. Dean Ash is Dean Ash Singh. 25th place, JP Celia. 26th place, Dan Bezadnert. 27th place, Harvey Goos. 28th place, Dirk Coetzee. I'm not sure if it's Coetzee or Coetzee.
It's a Coetzee.
Coetzee, alright.
Yeah, the Afrikaans pronunciation is Coetzee.
Right, it's a running start. Here we go. Drivers are away. Coming up to the flag. And we are waiting for the green flag. And there we have it. Green flag.
Right, the start or the straight that isn't a straight for the start. And we see dust coming up in the background. They threw Tamburello, seems to be without any problem. Team Harder Racing has a big crash there. That's the Porsche from Foch Tech Esport.
No, I believe that's Julian Brains, I think. That was a heavy crash. That was him recovering. I'm surprised the car is still drivable. Maybe it's not.
Yeah, it doesn't look as though it's going to be.
Oh, a bit of contact there.
There's more contact in the corner. Oh, they certainly are giving it everything in the sprint race, because the sprint race determines the start positions for the endurance race.
So one of the new drivers, Dirk, having a good drive at the moment. 17th place, right up behind Harvey Goos. In the background, we see one of the BP Racing cars heading off.
Not many serious corners to threaten tyre wear, I think, on this circuit. So, but one or two chicanes that slow them down, and they use a lot of curbing, as you can see on this track.
And we see Chris Collison coming under threat from Adrian Nell now.
Adrian got away off the line very quickly, and the Team Harder Racing, didn't get away, I think, as quick as they'd like to. But I think these guys will, rather than suffer any damage, they'll probably be quite happy to stick to the positions they're in now, rather than have. So that's the first lap of 6 completed. There's an Underwood getting away from the rest, so he leads by 1.7 seconds, and in the sprint race that's very difficult to claw back. Chris Collison second, Adrian Nell, as we said. Stanton Augustus, who I thought was up in the air, it's not Stanton that went up into the air, so he's still in 4th. Richard Sillier, number 101, in 5th. Sean Olivier, number 137, in 6th position. Dani Stander, that's a change of position. Timo Smith has just gone past Dani Stander, so Timo Smith up into 7th, Dani Stander in 8th. Rian van der Westhuizen in 9th, and the top 10 rounded off by Wayne Kruger.
Adrian looking quite menacing at the moment. It looks like he's got the pace to catch, but not to pass. He gets within a few tenths and then just struggles to get any closer. So Chris obviously doing just enough to keep him at bay, but which I think might be slowing him down, allowing Jason to get away.
Yeah. And the thing is, then also Jason runs his own race. He conserves tyres. They probably change tyres between this and the 1 hour race. But it just means he's not quite riding shotgun, but certainly there's the Minions racing car. You can recognize that one a mile off. And certainly he's doing well. compared to where I think he's gained a position or so. Where was Timo in the start? Let's have a quick look. Timo was 6th, and he is currently running in 7th. So he's actually, Sean Olivier has got past him, so I think Sean Olivier has improved from where he started. He was 8th, and he's actually now gained a position, so good for him, going well.
Marius van Wyk currently leading the veterans category. Is currently running in 12th place. That's a good position at the moment.
Have a quick look where Harvey is. Harvey's up in 16th, which I think he was much lower down earlier on. Maybe he just managed to avoid those 2 sets of collisions that we had on the first lap, and got himself up from. Let's have a quick look where he was in qualifying. Harvey was in 26th position and finds himself now in 16th. So he's gained 10 positions. Well done, Harvey.
As we see Sean Johnson challenging Donny Belafonte at the moment. Sean is another Sunday driver. He doesn't seem to qualify or focus too much on qualifying, but he's just very consistent. As I say that, commentators curse. Sorry, Sean.
He put the mockers on them.
He's usually very, very consistent, and I'm confident enough to actually bring it up. But now I think that's the second time that's happened.
Yeah. It happens to the best of us. So I'm just trying to see. Let me go back to the qualifying to see the DNFs that we have are Antonio de Lima, Julian Brains is a lap down, Jean-Ray de Toy is out, and Gerrit Beekes is out. Now, if we have a quick look, Jean-Ray de Toy, I think, qualified quite high. Jean-Ray de Toy was in 4th. So I think he was involved in that accident. Car number 737. Now, that's one of the Boeing Brigade.
Yeah.
That is a DNF. So maybe he was either, there were 2 sets of accidents that happened on the first lap, and it looks as though he was caught up in that. Gerrit Beekes, let me go have a look where he was. Gerrit was in 10th in qualifying. So maybe he was in that second accident, because the first accident was quite high up on the grid of the qualifiers. Let's just see where we are running at the moment. Lap 4. So Jason and Chris, they seem to be quite easy at it. And Adrian Nell still 0.8 of a second behind Chris. And Stanton Augustus, he's decided he's not going to push too hard. 3.6 seconds behind Adrian. So I don't think much is going to change there, except for Richard Sillier pushing less than a second behind Stanton. So 4th and 5th might still be up for grabs.
As we see Donny Stander losing it as well and getting passed by Rian van der Westhuizen. Now he's got the other Merc coming up behind him of, I believe that's Wayne Kruger.
Look where Thunder is in 9th, Wayne Kruger in 10th. So Rian, that's just passed, is up into 8th. Timo Smith, I was saying he's qualified in the top 5. He's only, maybe he was also just slowed down by that first lap incident, or one of the first lap incidents. He finds himself in 7th, but only half a second behind Sean Olivier. And if you look at his fastest lap, then he's almost a second quicker than Sean Olivier, so he might still take 6th position. If you look, their gap is 0.7 of a second, so Timo pushing hard in car number 84.
Yeah, so on board with him at the moment. Hopefully we can see some action, yeah?
And this is 4th position, Timo Smith in 7th. And let's see if he's going to make a change as they go past the lights. This is the first corner. There, it'll be a chicane, Tamburello, left and right. And then it sweeps again continuously. We actually missed what gear they were in, but that doesn't matter. The fastest point on the circuit is just after, well, it's that sweeping left hand before they get to Tamburello. So but at this stage it looks like Timo's decided to hang back and keep the challenge for a later corner.
Big slide there by Sean in front of him, getting the back end out, and I'm surprised that Timo didn't catch more.
Yes, maybe he didn't get a good exit himself, but certainly he's staying right there with him. If we go and look at where they are, they're running, I think they're on lap 5. So certainly fastest lap time, Jason Underwood again, but he's running all on his own in the lead. So it does get him a point though. You get a point for the fastest lap in each of the races. So We have more people joining the DNF stand beside note. Donnie Bellafronte, Antonio de Lima, Jean-Ray de Toy, Gerrit Bekes. And cars that are a lap down as Pieter Geldnys, Gavi Gous has dropped a lap down, and Julian Brains has dropped 2 laps down. So yes, that car even though it's going, it's not very drivable.
There we see Timo slowly creeping up to Sean. A menacing look of those minions behind him.
You can't miss that car. And certainly he's trying to make up the position, but I think he might just run out of lap time or laps in which to do it. This is lap 6 of 6 that they start now. So this is the final lap. And the race leader is out in the distance and leads by 2.7 seconds. That's Jason Underwood, number 11, ahead of Chris Collison, number 22. Adrian Nel in third, Stanton Augustus in fourth.
Alright, so let's have a look at some of the drives. I believe that is maybe Yandre Dupinor that they're coming up to. No, it's not. Yandre is further up the road. That, I guess, is Richard that they're coming up to.
Right, Richard's... let's see what happens here. Those cars are very close together, so anything can and might still happen for them on the final lap.
I think they're all driving a bit wounded.
Could be.
Yandre is not usually this far back in the pack. He's usually near the front, the sharp end of the field, and he's going defensive against these guys. So I presume he's not got the power or acceleration.
It's past there, one change for position, and goes off, as I say that, using the road and a bit more.
Now he's got JP right behind him as well.
So certainly is an exciting last lap in the sprint. Jason Underwood, of course, unchallenged. It's 2.2 seconds to Chris Collison, and then 3/4 of a second to Adrian Nel, who's still giving it everything, and 4 seconds further back to Stanton Augustus, 3 seconds to Richard Sillier. Timo Smit is still only 0.2 of a second behind Sean Olivier.
And we see the top 3 take the checkered flag, and now Stanton taking the checkered flag. Richard coming across the line in 5th place. And Sean managing to hold off Timo. Rian van der Veste is in a solid position for Rian, 8th place. As well for Dani Stander in 9th place. And Adib taking 10th place. Ooh, that was close. Wayne Kruger and Adib having a good finish at the end there. Peter Murray holding off Morris. Sorry about in there.
No problem. It was a very close finish. Well, unluckily the lap scoring carries on even though the race is finished. But the flag has gone as far down as Wessel Verdun in 15th. So waiting for Sean Johnson, Dirk Kotze. That Julian Brains that's been lapped, he's gone. And well, momentarily there he did get the flag. There goes Sean Johnson, Dirk Kotze, Andre Hilbrand, JP Sillier, I think has gone across. Pieter Geldnys in 21st. He's not going to be too happy about that. JP in 19th. Yandre Dupinor will be, I think, better in the race than the 20th position that he did get. But I think you've got a lot of resetting to do, or setting of the grid for the endurance race.
Indeed we do. So we'll be back shortly.
Until then.
Are you or someone you know a victim of a car crash, or a legal professional seeking help in a crash investigation case? Look no further than IBF International. At IBFUSA, we specialize in at-scene crash evidence preservation, evidence analysis, crash reconstruction, and court testimony. We have over 20 years of experience in at-scene and post-event crash investigations in most of Southern Africa and the rest of the world. We not only provide assistance to crash victims and legal professionals, but we also offer training to those who wish to pursue a career in crash forensics. Our goal is to empower our clients with the knowledge and tools they need to navigate the often complicated world of crash investigations. Our slogan is IBF International. The facts speak for themselves, and we stand by it. We provide expert guidance and assistance to help you with insurance repudiation, expert testimony, and trial assistance. We believe that the facts should always be the driving force in any crash investigation, and we are committed to providing you with the most accurate and thorough analysis possible. If you're looking for an expert to guide you through a crash investigation, look no further than IBFUSA. For more information or to engage our services, visit our website at www.ibfusa.info. Are you or someone you know a victim of a car crash, or a legal professional seeking help in a crash investigation case? Look no further than IBF International. At IBFUSA, we specialize in at-scene crash evidence preservation, evidence analysis, crash reconstruction, and court testimony. We have over 20 years of experience in at-scene and post-event crash investigations in most of Southern Africa and the rest of the world. We not only provide assistance to crash victims and legal professionals, but we also offer training to those who wish to pursue a career in crash forensics. Our goal is to empower our clients with the knowledge and tools they need to navigate the often complicated world of crash investigations. Our slogan is IBF International. The facts speak for themselves, and we stand by it. We provide expert guidance and assistance to help you with insurance repudiation, expert testimony, and trial assistance. We believe that the facts should always be the driving force in any crash investigation, and we are committed to providing you with the most accurate and thorough analysis possible. If you're looking for an expert to guide you through a crash investigation, look no further than IBFUSA. For more information or to engage our services, visit our website at www.ibfusa.info. Are you or someone you know a victim of a car crash, or a legal professional seeking help in a crash investigation case? Look no further than IBF International. At IBFUSA, we specialize in at-scene crash evidence preservation, evidence analysis, crash reconstruction, and court testimony. We have over 20 years of experience in at-scene and post-event crash investigations in most of Southern Africa and the rest of the world. We not only provide assistance to crash victims and legal professionals, but we also offer training to those who wish to pursue a career in crash forensics. Our goal is to empower our clients with the knowledge and tools they need to navigate the often complicated world of crash investigations. Our slogan is IBF International. The facts speak for themselves, and we stand by it. We provide expert guidance and assistance to help you with insurance repudiation, expert testimony, and trial assistance. We believe that the facts should always be the driving force in any crash investigation, and we are committed to providing you with the most accurate and thorough analysis possible. If you're looking for an expert to guide you through a crash investigation, look no further than IBFUSA. For more information or to engage our services, visit our website at www.ibfusa.info. Are you or someone you know a victim of a car crash, or a legal professional seeking help in a crash investigation case? Look no further than IBF International. At IBFUSA, we specialize in at-scene crash evidence preservation, evidence analysis, crash reconstruction, and court testimony. We have over 20 years of experience in at-scene and post-event crash investigations in most of Southern Africa and the rest of the world. We not only provide assistance to crash victims and legal professionals, but we also offer training to those who wish to pursue a career in crash forensics. Our goal is to empower our clients with the knowledge and tools they need to navigate the often complicated world of crash investigations. Our slogan is IBF International. The facts speak for themselves, and we stand by it. We provide expert guidance and assistance to help you with insurance repudiation, expert testimony, and trial assistance. We believe that the facts should always be the driving force in any crash investigation, and we are committed to providing you with the most accurate and thorough analysis possible. If you're looking for an expert to guide you through a crash investigation, look no further than IBFUSA. For more information or to engage our services, visit our website at www.ibfusa.info. Are you or someone you know a victim of a car crash, or a legal professional seeking help in a crash investigation case? Look no further than IBF International. At IBFUSA, we specialize in at-scene crash evidence preservation, evidence analysis, crash reconstruction, and court testimony. We have over 20 years of experience in at-scene and post-event crash investigations in most of Southern Africa and the rest of the world. We not only provide assistance to crash victims and legal professionals, but we also offer training to those who wish to pursue a career in crash forensics. Our goal is to empower our clients with the knowledge and tools they need.
Alright, welcome back everybody. We are now live for the feature race of the Sim Experience IBFUSA GT3 World Series Round 4 from Imola Grand Prix Circuit in Italy. This is the feature race, a 60-minute race. I'm your commentator Dennis Mitchell, joined once again by Sean Woodgate.
Good evening everybody, nice to be here.
This of course is round 4. This is now the feature race. It's a 60-minute race. We had a 6-lap sprint race before, which had quite a interesting turnout, so the grid is slightly mixed up. And we're just going to...
Sorry, Dennis, I think we can expect some of the guys below 20th position, including Andre himself in 20th, to be fighting against the others and coming up the back in the race proper.
Definitely. Just a quick look at our championship points. I'm not going to read it. You guys can all pause it at your own leisure.
It's an interesting fact that I've spotted, Dennis.
Yes.
Everybody was on, what did I say? They were on mediums.
Yes.
The top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cars have gone to the hard compound, and Timo and Rian in 7th and 8th on medium. The next 4 are on hard again. I see one or two of the guys. There are 2 cars that have hard in the fronts, medium at the back. That's Dinesh Singh in, where's Dinesh, 14th, and then also Stan Vasadnote in 24th. Do the hard medium combination.
Okay.
Changing from the mediums onto the hards.
Just looking at the grid at the moment, quite a few changes. Donnie Stunder up to 9th place, having a good race there. Wayne Kruger up to 11th place. Peter Murray 12th. Maurice van Wyk having a solid race, 13th place for him. Nash 14th, Wessel Volin 15th, Sean Johnson 16th. We'll get to some of the drivers that had their bad results shortly. Dirk, is it Kutzer?
That's the one.
Andre Hildebrandt, JP Solia, and Yandre Dippenaar. Yandre, one of the drivers that had a bad result. Peter Geldenes 21st, Harvey Host 22nd, Julian Brains having an incredible tumble at the first chicane, Stan Bezadno 24th, Darlene Belafonte 25th, 26th, Antonio De Lima and Jean-Louis de Toy 27th, Garrett Bucas in 28th, and I believe that's the start of the race.
Fantastic. They're away. Let's just see if they get everybody through the chicanes clear. That's Tamburello that they go through now. But he seems to be away, and the secret, as you said, there seems to be a bit of a nudge on Chris, but he just holds back. The big secret here is to actually give your competitor just enough space to get around the corner with you, rather than compete for the... You've got 1 whole hour in which to make the pass. You don't want to do it on turn 2.
Yes. As you were mentioning the tires earlier, I should have brought up the graphics. So red are softs, yellow are mediums, white are hards, and blue are wets. We probably won't see any blues today.
Very interesting to see how these guys are going to challenge Team Harder Racing. They just seem to, I wouldn't say be invincible, but certainly towards the end of the last race, it was very, very interesting. There was just not enough tire wear left for Team Harder Racing, and they actually, was it on the last lap or second last lap, the change was made for the lead, and we'll have to see if it's going to be something similar again tonight. But Jason Underwood, Chris Collison, as a team racing together, they certainly have a big gap ahead of anybody else.
Timo looking to challenge Sean at the moment. Sean currently in 5th place, Timo in 6th. So Timo's made up 1 place since the start.
We did mention between races, Dennis and I were chatting, is that we expected Timo actually to make a pass in the sprint race, but then we said there's that old saying that you've got to first finish to finish first, and maybe he decided it's better to get through the sprint race and then go for the double points, as it were, in the main race. And here he is fighting for 5th position already.
With the other drivers in sight. It's only first place that is really pulling away, but he has 5th in front and 4th and 3rd right in front of that, so he's definitely in sight of a podium.
Adrian up to 2nd, so he split the Team Harder Racing competitors.
So I hadn't even noticed that.
Yeah, so Adrian is in number 15, and there's the 2 blue cars are Team Harder Racing. Not sure if it was a mistake by Collison, but certainly Adrian now jumping in and getting away from Collison. So potentially, I wouldn't say a problem, but Chris Collison not running as quick as I think he'd like. Adrian now 1.7 seconds behind Jason Underwood. Jason, as one would expect, because he has no hindrance in front of him. The fastest lap so far, 146.054. But Adrian now lighting up the screen with the purples in the first 2 sectors now, so he's flying.
And Timo also right on the tail now of Sean. They got really close to the chicane there.
This is a corner that has, well, Tamburello used to be a long left-hand sweep.
Ooh, one of the Ferraris there on the dirt.
They changed Tamburello to slow them down. And then the Villeneuve is also a funny little chicane until they get to Tosa, which is not quite a full hairpin, but close enough. There we go. Change of position, but the track's going the wrong way, so he's got to hang out the outside for now. But it changes in a little while, so he's just got to stay there, give each other the room. It'll sweep left, and then they'll be into Tamburello, which is a left-hander, and he will be well positioned, will Timo.
Beautiful move that, nicely thought out ahead of time. Nicely planned.
And nice there from Sean Willifield, actually just to stay there and give him the space, driving next to each other.
Now, Rian van der Veste is also in the hunt.
Yeah, that's what happens if you over-defend, as it were, that you don't actually just lose the position to one car. The other cars behind you have a chance to catch up. And that's exactly what's happened here.
This is what I love about this kind of a championship with the mixed up cars and the different tracks. We're seeing different drivers basically coming to the 4 different tracks. We have our kind of bunch at the front that are going to be quick at every track, but then there are other guys. So tonight we have Rian van der Vestes, and right now having a solid race, 7th position. He hasn't been in that position in a long time, so good to see him fighting up there.
And to have something that I started and never finished. Adrian Nel did get the fastest lap, 144.237, compared to Jason Underwood's 144.7. So half a second that he gained, although he is 1.5 seconds behind Jason. So it seems to be pretty constant. If anything, Jason gets away from him again. Jason putting in greens for himself, which doesn't light up in purple for the track, but certainly it's going to mean that he's staying ahead of Adrian for the minute. If you look at the sector times, a 26.2 for Jason, a 26.3 for Adrian, a 34.7 for Jason, a 34.8 for Adrian. So, and a best sector 3 for Jason means that he stays ahead of Adrian quite comfortably, 1.6 seconds between the two of them.
Yeah. Nice trio here. Richard having a look at the moment at Andre, I'll get it out eventually.
And there you've got to go. Are you going to stay? Are you going to brake late? Are you going to hold on to the corner? But once again, gives up the position and immediately is threatened by another car. So you've really got to think this out.
I think that has released Richard. So Richard, I think, will now start to head towards Sean. You see Wayne off in the distance there.
It will probably slow down their personal lap times. The last 40, although Richard's still here doing a 47.4 and Sean Johnson ahead of him a 48.3, but I think the change happened after they crossed the finish line, so that's probably going to be different by the time they come around the next time. But if you look at some of the cars behind, Julian Brains running a 147.2, which means he has the chance to catch up on Andre Hildebrandt. So a lot of catching up to do. Let's see what's happening further down. Some of the guys that we did say are going to be passing. It's going to be an interesting race. Harvey Ghost running in 21st. I think he was in 22nd when they started, but he's down 2 laps already. And I just want to make sure that I'm on the live. We have a DNF for Gerrit Beukes. Dinesh Singh is 3 laps down, and Donny Bellafronte has a DNF. So I know he did have a problem one of the races that he actually got a penalty over the start line, which was probably a glitch either with his software or the server. One doesn't know. This is sim racing. But there's no doubt that Jason Underwood is just holding the gap at 1.7 seconds from Adrian Nel. And Jason has decided he's going to take back that fastest lap. It's worth a point. He runs a 144.2, which is 0.025 of a second quicker than Adrian Nel, if my maths serves me well.
Looks like Sean Olaf is really in the battles today. Ooh, getting a little bit of a tag there. Fighting hard at the moment with the Andre Dippenaar.
And if he has Yandre come past him, then Peter Marais is not very far behind either. And Adib Kamildin is also less than a second further behind Peter Marais. So this race is very interesting, and we haven't even run 9 minutes yet. So we're just over 8. So a lot is happening, and a lot more is going to happen, I am sure. Look at those 3. Here comes a challenge. No, there's a chicane. Can't do it there. That's actually 1, 2, 3, 4 cars, I think, that are that close. And that's what we were saying. Positioning, that one pass that we saw earlier, was it from Timo? Well positioned, probably about 3 corners before the actual pass was made.
See him lurking there.
You know, this is the BMW that, what do they call it? The kidney shape of the BMW, looking menacing. What BMW do they run here? Sorry to put you on the spot, Dennis.
It's the BMW M4.
Okay. Very nice looking front end to the M4. And that's the car you said that was built for DTM, never raced in DTM. So they made it available for GT3 racing.
No, the DTM one is also an M4, but that is what they call the M4 Class 1, which was supposed to be a DTM based on the road-going M4. this is probably more. Oh, a lot of contact there.
Nudge, nudge, wink, wink.
Incredibly close here, leaning on each other.
But the challenge that they're going to be facing soon is those 3 cars behind them. And there's actually not giving space, as we said. One needs to leave a car width at least for your competitor to get through the corner as well. It's not nice. And then also
And they
he
both
decides
spin.
to back up. Yeah. Somehow now the guys behind them go 1, 2, 3, and you've lost 3 positions. In fact, there might have been a 4th. Is that Timo running in isolation?
In 5th place, yes.
Yeah.
He does have Stanton in his sights.
Yep, he's going to be aiming at him. And certainly that Corvette, it's the only Corvette in the field, am I right?
That's correct, yes.
Yeah, he seems to be quite comfortable with that car. Not sure how much of a setup change he's had to make or whether it just suits his driving style. But Timo in the Minions Corvette, he is chasing hard to catch the Porsche ahead of him. As we said before, and we'll be saying it probably a few times tonight, it is an hour race. They've just done 10 minutes. So another 49 minutes and 15 seconds to go. Jason Underwood still leads now. Adrian Hull has taken the quickest lap back again, a 143.910, which is fractionally quicker than the 144.05 by Jason Underwood. But the gap between them still now up to 1.8 seconds. So even though Adrian has the quickest lap, Jason is extending that lead. Depends where they are. But between 1.6 and 1.8. And Chris Collison has lost touch. He's almost 4 seconds behind them. So let's go and have a look. Adib Khamaldin, half a second behind Peter Marais. Adib, car number 119, Peter Marais, number 420. That's 7th and 6th. Adib in 7th. Go have a bit further. Jandre Dippenaar up into 10th, chasing Sean Olivier. That's the white and blue car.
These two having all kinds of contact here.
Yeah, that was quite a big nudge. And Jandre's not going to like that too much. Just go and make sure it is. Oh, they probably lost position. Yeah, Jandre Dippenaar, number 9. And he's down in 12th position at the moment. So he was off the circuit. 2 cars off the circuit there. So I'm not sure whether that'll go to the stewards. A DNF for Sean Olivier. So was Sean involved in one of those?
Well, Sean and Jandre, yes.
Yes, from 16th position he gets a DNF. So he's going to drop off the leaderboard as well. I think the server deciding to step in there.
All right, Peter Marais in 6th place with Adib right behind him.
Let's see what times they're putting at. Wait for Peter Marais at 26.6, Adib at 26.8 in the first sector. Both of them having a good time. Adib, the 44.08 in the final sector, where Peter did a 44.6. But if you look at the last lap, 46.5 from Peter and a 46.4 from Adib. So they're running within 0.1 of a second of each other, and that's the gap between them as well, is 0.7. So as Murray Walker used to say, catching is one thing, but passing is another. And we see that in motion at the moment. The battle for 6th position.
See, some of the gaps are closing. So at the moment, Stanton is 1.6 behind Chris. Adrian is 1.8 behind Jason. So we'll just keep an eye on those gaps, and they might start to change slightly. This is one of the smallest gaps at the moment, 0.5 currently.
Peter Galdner is also 0.5 behind Andre Hildebrandt. So that's another one to keep an eye on. That's for 14th and 13th. Might be low down, but those guys are having a demon fight. Jandre only 0.4 of a second behind Julian Brains. That's for 11th and 12th. And then Richard Sillier and Sean Johnson by 0.1 of a second. So that's very, very close for 9th and 10th. And Adib still hanging on to Peter Marais for all that he's worth, and that's for 6th and 7th position.
Yeah, so much has happened, and yet we're only 15 minutes into the race.
Yeah, so there's 3 battles that I did mention now that potentially could change in the blink of an eye. You just get the corner wrong or the exit wrong, This is the main grandstand on the left, and I think the officials building on the right, which means they are approaching Tamburello. Here you see they made a sort of slight left-right combination, nothing vicious out of Tamburello, just to slow that corner down. It used to be a continuous left-hand sweep, and then into the Villeneuve, wouldn't call it a chicane, but also two corners that are quite mild before they get to Tosa, which Tosa they go all the way down into second gear. This is Tosa now, it's continuous left, and then they go up the hill, third, fourth gear, onto the crest of the hill. They actually change into fourth, and from the footage that I saw, they go into third gear for Piratella, and they keep it in third through Piratella, and still sweeping left, they go into fourth. They feather through the bit that goes to the right, this bit here, that's a feather, they don't change gear, and then it's down third, second gear for that funny little corner, that's a right-left, and then it's third, fourth, and they hold it in fourth all the way to Curvo Fausto Grissini, which is another chicane, right-left, and then that will be second gear, then it's third, fourth, fifth, that they'll go all the way down to Rivazza and back through the gearbox again. Fourth, third, and second will be for Rivazza. Here it comes now. It's a left, a short straight bit, and then left again. And then they'll be into, well, we can't call it the start-finish straight. It'll be the start-finish curve. There's the pit lane exit, where you exit the circuit into pit lane. And you see it has a short piece just for the start line that is straight, but other than that it goes to the right again, and there's a long curve to the left, and I think here they get sixth gear. There you see it. Thank you, Adib, for showing us sixth gear there. It's the only place that I've seen sixth gear being used so far in all the circuits that we've used thus far in the championship. Right. Maybe down the back, I wasn't noticing actually when they did twin ring. Did they go into sixth at that long straight at Motegi?
Oh, that's a good question.
Paying attention.
I think they did.
Yeah, it's not something that we mentioned that I can recall, but it's so long, just jumping out of memory, that the chances are that they did.
We have a nice battle going on here. We have Vessel Falloon catching up to Julian Brains. I believe they are in the sister team. So Vessel is High Revolution Roadside, whereas Julian is High Revolution Racing.
Right, so the two versions of the High Revolution teams at each other's throat for 14th position. Julian in the lead. It varies, but it's at around about a second, depending who goes through the corner first and who catches up last. But the one that's interesting is 9th, 10th, and 11th. Sean Johnson, number 52, Richard Sillier, number 101, and Jandre Dippenaar, number 9. That's 9th, 10th, and 11th. And they are separated by, between Sean and Richard, 0.3 of a second, and Richard and Jandre, 0.3 of a second. And it changes all over the time. So 0.4 of a second, half a second covers 3 cars, numbers 52, 101, and 9 for 9th, 10th, and 11th. So that's an interesting race if you can pick that one out, Dennis.
Yes. So maybe show the extended battle information at the bottom as well so we can see the gaps.
Well, this is very interesting. We've got, is it 5 cars in picture? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, and being an endurance race, they'll be seeing that, and it's a very different race that you race when you actually see your competitor in front of you, rather than hear your crew chief tell you where he is. So you've got actually something to aim at.
Of course, we're looking at Andre Hildebrandt at the moment.
So 6 cars in sight of one another, and that'll make life very interesting. Is there an attempt at the dive? No, there isn't.
I think that's also maybe one of the back markers he's trying to get past.
Could be, and the back marker's not making it very easy. At this stage, everybody still stays on the tarmac, which is what counts.
Peter Geldenes has managed to get past as a result of that. That was for position. Car in front and the car behind, so I think they are further down. It's Marius van Wyk is behind them. I think he's battling with the Porsche, which is Dirk in front. So Dirk and Marius are having their own battle, and the two coming through have now swapped places because of it.
Would you believe they're a lap down as Dirk and Marius? they're a lap down on Javi Gous, who himself is a lap down on the competitors all the way to 17th position. So shows you even the back markers have an influence on the race. You just happen to get into, if you're one of the quicker guys, it's your job to get past them, although they must attempt not to block. So here's Hildebrandt. Is that the Martini Racing colours? Certainly looking splendid.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, recognize that. That and the Golf colours are probably two of the colours you'll recognize anywhere in the world.
Well, mind you, the car in front is quite a familiar color scheme. It's probably a more modern take on it. The Shell Helix colors. That's also.
Yes.
Oh, what's happening to Morris there? Running slightly wide there.
Yeah, you didn't get. Maybe you forgot about that corner. The fact that the straight isn't straight, but he collects it all again before Tamburello. Oh, look at this battle. Love it. It's all over the show. Peter Geldnys is in 12th. He's trying to get 11th.
Trying to do the switch back there, taking a different line, coming back. Now he's got the inside. He should be able to send it up the inside fairly easily, and does.
He might actually drag one of the other cars with him because it's a left-left.
Weaving a little bit there to keep that. I guess that's the back mark he's trying to keep behind him. Maybe he's just trying to tell him, look, stay behind. This is not your battle.
So interesting battles that are all the way. Peter Geldnys, Andre Hildebrandt. Let's see what Jandra's done. Jandra's gone. He's only now 0.3 of a second behind Richard Sillier. So Jandre fighting for 10th position. Richard Sillier is 0.2 of a second ahead of him. So 10th and 11th between cars number 101 and car number 9.
Yes, very, very close between the two teammates. I'm sure there's team honors here.
Yeah. Beautifully turned out BMWs, running very nicely. And the car numbers, Peter Geldnys is 88. Sorry, he's further back. 9 is Jandre de Panara and 101 is Richard Sillier. And those two are fighting Jandre in 11th, Richard Sillier in 10th. This is it on the road.
Sean Johnson just up ahead of them as well.
Yeah. These BMWs, they flick them through the corner nicely. They are quite, mind you, all these cars are quite big and heavy. And I think it's personal driving style that determines, and how you set up your car. I remember back in the day, I think it was at Midval, when Midval still had a fairly decent surface in the single seaters. They said if your car runs well at Midval, even though it's flat, your car setup will be good anyway. His teammates are certainly giving each other a challenge. Richard Sillier is fighting for all he's worth, and interesting to see two identical painted cars running so close to each other. So Andre de Panara 0.7 of a second. Richard Sillier's got Sean Johnson in his sights as well, so Sean Johnson can't relax either. They've got to be really fighting it out.
Of course, Andre de Panara is the owner of PZN Panel Beaters. He heads up the team. He is from Namibia, one of the faster Namibia drivers.
They're in the northern industrial area in Windhoek. If you're looking for somebody, and he runs off as we just talked about it. That might have cost him because the tires keep that gravel on, and it has cost him, I think. The curve is to the right and then to the left, and then Tamburello is left. So his teammate, I think, has gotten past him there.
I think it's the other way around. I think it's him getting past Richard now. That was Richard, I think, that got into the grass there. And I guess a bit sideways.
Now, that's the other thing, of course, you get past and you, in the fun of the fair, you might brake a little bit later than what you would like to, and that's just the way that goes. Let's have a look at the compounds. Jandre is running hard, and where's Richard is also running hard. So Jandre number 9 is in 10th position, and Richard Sillier number 101 in 11th. How far are they away from Sean Johnson? They're now a second behind Sean Johnson. Adib in 7th, is still only 0.3, 0.4 of a second behind Peter Murray in 6th. So it's car number 119, Adib Khamaldin, and car number 420, Peter Murray. Peter holds on to 6th position.
Very, very close there. Right,
This
this
is
bumper. Is he going to go for up the inside here? Looks like he's positioning himself, but backside of it. Oh, no, thinking twice.
No, it's just not. If years now, maybe no, also not. It's very difficult when you got that double left-hander coming into the start-finish line. Now you've got a position for, well, the finish straight is a funny thing. It curves away to the right and then comes back on the left. But then if he's got great position now, because Tamburello is a left as you go into the chicane. So if you can hold that line, he's got left and he's got the race or the position. So well thought by Adib. Now he's got to not have the back end step out, but certainly he's not got it all his own way, even though the pass is made. So Adib up into 6th, but he's got Peter Murray right there with him, 0.2 of a second back.
And not too far back is Rian van der Westhuizen as well, teammate to Peter Murray.
He just needs to catch these two and maybe he can assist. But certainly an interesting race, and also, as we said before, an interesting pass that was thought out more than one corner prior to the pass actually being made.
And speaking of which, we have these three together at the moment. And they have... Yes, it's Donny Stander in front of them, yeah, being lapped. But Sean Johnson is definitely for position with Yandre and Richard. Richard right behind, so maybe he'll take advantage of Yandre getting held up, trying to get past Sean.
Yeah, that'll bunch them up a little bit while the one thinks out the strategy, the other one gets a chance to catch up. And then, once again, if it goes down the straight, well, talk about the start-finish straight, which isn't straight, it certainly is a place on the track that you can start thinking about where do you want to be on the track to actually position the car favorably to do the pass at Tamburello. So looks like this battle is very, very close. Sean Johnson at the moment leads, but if we have a look, Sean Johnson in 8th, Yandre Dippenaar in 9th, Richard Sillier in 10th. The separation is 0.4 and 0.4 between Sean Johnson, Yandre Dippenaar, and Yandre Dippenaar and Richard Sillier. So very close racing. You can't relax for a moment. Right,
Let's see who's going to make a move.
This is the straight. Nobody seems to be close enough actually to do anything yet. And there's Tamburello. So although they're close together, they seem to have the same speed, which after Tamburello, there's a straight bit. Then they go through the Villeneuve curves, chicanes, call them what you like, before they get to Tosa, which is a hairpin, which will slow them right down and they'll be hard on the brakes all the way down into second gear. This is Tosa. And out of Tosa, it's just flat out again through the gears, up the hill, into 4th gear, I think, only, before they get to Piratella, down into 3rd gear. There they crest the hill now. That they would have been in 4th by then already. Piratella is a 3rd gear corner. They'll be up into 4th feather when they get to the right-hander. I don't think they change out of 4th before they actually get to that right-hand bit. It'll be 3rd and 2nd. It's right-left, very slight left. But certainly a good place to position the car for a pass. This is the back marker staying out of the way. And I think both of them get past, or do they? No, one of them does and the other doesn't. So certainly an advantage to one of the PZN cars ahead, but he still has to make the pass come ahead, or come to fruition.
Richard's turn now.
Yes, and he's hanging behind at the moment. So let's see where they are. Smith is up into 5th. The first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, Peter Murray is 28 seconds behind Timo. So Timo running in 5th is 4.5 seconds behind Stanton, who's 3 seconds behind Chris Collison, running in 3rd, who's 8.5 seconds behind Adrian. But Adrian also not mounting a challenge. He's 3.5 seconds behind Jason. So pretty much static. The fight is on with Sean Johnson and Richard Sillier. That's under a second. And we cast our eyes down quickly. JP Sillier in 16th is only just over a second behind Stan Besaidnout. Adib has been given a DNF. So although he's dropped down to 18th position and will be falling off the leaderboard as the other cars come through because they are 2 laps behind. So the DNF stack up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Adib will be the 7th DNF of the evening.
Yeah, not sure what happened to me. He was definitely doing quite well, so maybe just getting it slightly wrong. At some point I did see one of the Porsches on the dirt. I'm not sure if it was him. As we see Timo Smith coming up to lap JP Salir. JP, of course, in a battle with Stan.
Yeah, I was about to ask, is that Stan with a double blue line through the white car looking very pretty?
I think it is. According to the times, he is just over a second ahead of JP, so I presume that is him.
Well, they're a lap down, but fighting for 15th and 16th position.
Nicely done there by JP, just moving over and rolling off slightly.
Right, as they come, we have a yellow flag in Sector 2. Stan Mercedes Ferrari going very nicely.
That was in front of them. It was a car we haven't seen much of, and that was Harvey actually. Stan just moving out of the way for Timo.
Well done, sir. And Harvey runs, well, I don't say I mock him, but Harvey running lucky number 13, and he's been doing it all the championships in sim racing that I've been involved in. So he's stuck to it. Let's see if anything's noteworthy up ahead of them all. We seem to be settling, everybody seems to be settling into their positions now. Chris Collison, 10 seconds behind Adrian, who's almost 4 seconds behind Jason. Fastest lap still stays with Adrian Neld at 1:43.91. So I don't think with the tyre wear that anybody's going to be changing that anytime soon. But that being said, the fuel load does get lighter. But I think the tyre wear takes preference over fuel load.
Are we making a mistake there? And Timo coming past. It looks like there's a bit of cloud cover because it's getting bright and dim. So I guess the cloud just lurking. It looks like Harvey's making it. I was going to say making it difficult, and then he rolled out of it to the last part there. Showing all these years of experience. Roll out at the end, you don't lose as much as if you roll out in the center of the straight.
Yeah. So 28 minutes to go. So we've done 32, so past the halfway mark. And certainly, if we just go having a look, there's nothing major to report at the moment of challenges less than a second. Richard Sillier, Jandre Dippenaar, that's Richard in 9th, Jandre in 8th. That gap is 1.1 seconds. That's about the only one that's worth a mention at this stage that I can see. And further back, JP Sillier on Stan Besaidnout, that's 1.3 seconds. So JP Sillier car number 89, Stan Besaidnout car number 36.
Have a look at Stan's. And Stan is of course our sponsor for the series.
It's Stan man going through.
His car does look fantastic. It's also nice to have it on screen.
And that's the 1 second battle, the car behind him that I did mention. That's one of two. 1 second is quite a long way, as you see on the racetrack with cars of this horsepower. So you have to be a lot closer than that even to think about mounting a challenge. So at this stage, the car behind Stan will be concentrating on clean lines. That's JP Sillier. He'll be just thinking of keeping his own racing line, keeping it straight, braking at the right point, and decreasing that 1.4 second. But I did say, well, there's down to 1.1. It'll change depending who's on deceleration, who's on exiting the corner. It's a second now between JP and Stan, so we'll just keep an eye on that. And up further above, Richard Sillier is half a second behind Jandre Dippenaar. That's for 8th and 9th. Jandre in 8th. That's car number 9, and Richard Sillier, car number 101. So those two, they're the teammates, aren't they? Yes. Fighting it out for 8th and 9th, still at each other's throats. Here they go. Those two BMWs certainly looking very good. And it would appear that there are no team orders because they are certainly giving each other everything they've got.
I'm sure Yonder is going to be saying, maybe I should implement some team orders.
Yeah, being the team owner, I thought I saw a green there in one of the sectors. It's Peter Murray that put in a personal, actually, there's quite a few of them now that are putting in personal best times in the second. The one that matters is Richard Sillier has got a PB in Sector 2 as well as Sector 3, and he's chasing down Jan-Andre Dippenaar for 8th, and it's only 0.7 of a second, 0.6 now, that he's behind. So certainly the battle is on for 8th and 9th between teammates. As you look further back, cars behind them, oh, there's one wheel on the dirt. That's not the way to do it. Fighting all the way to try and catch your teammate in front of you. If anything, it looks as though the gap has increased a little bit.
Yeah, maybe Andre just put his foot down a little bit, or because he seemed to get a little bit sideways there, so I thought it would go the other way, but maybe Richard just not carrying as much speed at that point.
Yeah, it's difficult to say. They will know. As you see on top of the roof, the Namibian flag, there you see it quite clearly.
Was this battle also still ongoing here?
Stan still fighting it out. See if he can stay ahead. And let's see what the gap is down to now. Where's Stan gotten to? Stan is half a second ahead of, well, it fluctuates between 0.5 and 0.7 of a second ahead of JP Sillier. So Stan, car number 36, and JP Sillier, number 89. And they are fighting for 15th and 16th position. And of course, the honor of beating each other.
And points, I believe, do go down to 15th, so you definitely want to be in 15th and above. So that is the final point.
That is being held by Stan at the moment, so JP will want to take that away from him. Stan himself hasn't got a challenge. He's 14.5 seconds behind Wessel Viljoen. And Wessel, again, is 35 seconds behind Andre Hildebrandt. So nothing's going to change there, but the change that might happen is for 15th position. So Stan will be trying all in the next 23 minutes and 20 seconds to hold on to that final point scoring position. JP Sillier chasing hard. The cars having very similar colors. Stan staying ahead for now.
Just look back from Stan for a bit.
This is what's, well,
Slightly wide.
That's not the way to do it, Stan. Dennis, they're going to ban you from changing cameras.
Yes.
Or saying anything, because as they were running so well, then Stan makes a mistake as we put the camera on, looking back. That's twice tonight.
I'm not doing it intentionally, I promise.
No, it's just the way that racing happens. And we did say as well that some guys do well in the sprint races, whereas the other guys do well in the endurance race because they just have the ability to concentrate for so much longer. And one of those guys is Stanton Augustus. And I think he's third in the championship at the moment.
Second.
And he's fourth on the road. Second in the championship. And he's fourth on the road. So he's 4.4 seconds behind Chris Collison. And Chris is 11.4 seconds behind Adrian Nel, who's going very well today. But Adrian, I think, has decided with 4.5 seconds between himself and Jason, he's not going to make any change to first and second.
Unless he's just pacing himself and will push at the end. Because that gap's been about 4 seconds for a while.
Yeah, that's exactly what he did last week at Motegi. Is certainly, no, it wasn't Stanton. Although he finished, I think, in third position. Who was the actual winner last week at Motegi?
I believe we had Chris winning the first race, and the second race, it was Jean-Andre de Toy, I believe.
Yeah, so Jean-Andre had a demon, shall I say, for the last 10% of the hour, as we've only got 21 minutes odd to go. But the race that's on at the moment is Richard and Jan-Andre. Richard Sillier in 9th and Jan-Andre Dippenaar in 8th. That's a second between the two of them. And then between JP Sillier still and Stan Besaidnout. So Stan Besaidnout here has the two blue lines that run through the middle of the car. and then behind him, the blue lines that run sort of over the wheel arches. So you can recognize the two cars quite easily. And Stan is holding on for dear life ahead of JP at the moment. The gap between them, 0.6 of a second. It's been that for quite a while now. It just would appear that JP doesn't get close enough to position the car for a challenge for position somewhere on the circuit.
A few other battles brewing. So we have the team battle with PZN drivers here. They are now 8/10ths apart. Rian van der Veste is in 2.5 back from his teammate Peter Murray. So that battle also brewing. I think towards the end of the race we're going to see a little bit more action happening. Timo Smith is now 4 seconds shy of Stanton Augustus, who's also 4 seconds shy of Chris Collison. Chris seems to have slipped back. He's 12 seconds back of Ardra 4 seconds back of Jason. So a couple of 4-second gaps there. So we'll see who's preserving the tyres better towards the end.
Yeah, the only one that is interesting, Timo's on the mediums. Everybody, the 4 cars ahead of him and the 1 car behind him, they're all on the hards. So it's going to be Timo Smith, whether he's going to be able to make those mediums last the duration of the race with 19 minutes and some seconds to go.
Yeah, that would be quite interesting to see the result there. How do those last? Because the Porsches seem to have made the mediums last at the Nürburgring, and the guys were kind of scratching their head. How did they do that? So I think Timo has decided he wants to have a go at it. He'll try the mediums. So let's see how it pans out for him.
Yeah. The Nürburgring, the layout, of course, very different to IMOLA, but nonetheless, the only race that is for position is Rian and Peter Murray. That's about a second, and less than a second is still JP Sillier trying to catch and pass Stan Besaidnout.
Yeah, so lots of the teammates battling each other. We have quite a lot of DNFs tonight. But the teammates seem to have all stuck together, or become stuck together.
There's Peter Murray, who is almost 40 seconds behind Timo Smith, and only 0.9 of a second ahead of Rian van der Westhuizen. So Peter Murray will know that he's going to be in a battle. That's car number 420, and he has number 69 chasing him only a second further back. It's a bit wider of the circuit than you would want to be to get a fast exit out of the corner.
Maybe Murray, of course, from Namibia.
Yeah, maybe tyre wear is going to become a factor. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see.
Time will tell, as they say.
Yeah. With so little of the race left, we haven't had a race where anybody's actually gone into the pits to change tyres yet. So it looks as though 1 hour, unless you go out on the softs, I think that nobody's going to take that chance. So it's the option between the hards and the mediums that seem to, or they make them last.
Yeah, it's kind of the lull before the storm at the moment. Just waiting for everything to sort of happen. The guys, I think, are just pacing themselves. JP's in the pits. Speaking of guys going in the pits, is this for a tyre change or is it for fuel? I presume it's for tyres.
Let's see, he was on hards and he did put in a best personal time for sector 3. But let's see how far he's ahead of Dani Stander. That being said, JP's a lap down on everybody until Julian Brain is in 12th position. So if he can get in and out, he's gone to softs.
All right.
16 minutes and 40 seconds to go. He's gone to the soft compound. Now we'll see with a light fuel load, new soft compound tires, whether that's going to make enough of a difference, because he's now 2 laps down in 17th position. Whether that's going to, he's 25 seconds behind Dani Stander, who's also 25 seconds behind Stan Besaidnout. So is there enough time, and are these tires fast enough to make that much of a difference in 16 minutes?
Well, his lap time on the previous lap was a 1 minute 50 with his best of a 1:48.2. So let's monitor those times and see, does he drop enough time relative to the drivers in front? Dani on a 1:47 in front of him. I don't think he can catch him. and Stan on a 150. So possibly, well, maybe Stan ends up having to do a pit stop as well, and by then he's got the run in him because he's done the undercut.
Yeah. We'll have to wait and see what's going to happen. But incoming, well, with the fact that he came into the pits, that's removed everything that was noteworthy for us to talk about, other than Rian van der Westhuizen still being 1.2 seconds behind Peter Marais. That's car number 69, Rian van der Westhuizen in 7th, and car number 420, Peter Marais in 6th. I think both of them running orange-colored cars.
And this is very relevant because they are now lapping Stan, which means he's going to slow down to let them pass. That's going to decrease the gap between himself and JP, who's had the pit stop. And of course, Donnie's Thunder.
So they've gone through and they hold on to their positions quite nicely. And well done to Stan. In fact, Peter Marais, if we look in 6th position, behind him, Rian again drifting out just a little bit wide on the second portion of that chicane and putting the left rear wheel on the dirt, which is not what you want to be doing when you're trying to catch and pass. Stan going to stay out of the way again. These are the PZN guys. Stan, if you look at the racing line there, the grey bit isn't rubbered in, and the racing line is the dark bit on the track. Then you can clearly see that Stan went off the racing line to allow the PZN cars through. There's another PZN car to come.
Richard.
Yeah, they've actually separated from each other now, and just see what the gap is there. Richard is now 2.1 seconds behind Jandre. And Jandre is chasing Rian van der Westhuizen. It's down to under a second now. The other thing that we need to look at is JP put in a 48.2. I'm not sure that it's the last lap that I think that was his in lap on the old rubber. So we should be seeing a new lap soon on the softs. 153 is the last lap indicated. We'll just keep an eye out to see if that improves.
Is Stan letting other drivers pass?
I think Stan decided he's just going to hold on to this position. And just to confirm, it is P15, which is the last point scoring position, with 21 and a half minutes between him and Wessel Viljoen. He doesn't have a chance to catch 14th. So let's consolidate the point that I'm going to get for 15th position.
And the times at the front have all stabilized. Well, Adrian has actually slipped back to 6, almost 7 seconds from Jason. Chris has slipped back even further than what he was. He was previously 12, he was previously 19, he's now 21. Stanton was just over 4, he's now just under 4. 3.9 currently, so he's the one that's on a slight increase in performance versus Chris, and Timo roughly the same to Stanton.
If you look at the last laps, then the quickest of all of them is the race leader, 144.1, Adrian 145.5, Chris Collison 146.4, Stanton 145.2. So Jason is compared to the 3 cars behind him, is flying along. He's really in a groove with that car. It's an Aston Martin that him and Chris Collison run, and he's really making that Aston go.
And we've hardly seen it because he's been out front and just driven away from everyone. We've hardly seen him. So he's on the screen at the moment. So we do know he is there, apart from the occasional mention that he's out front.
Yeah, it's actually interesting that if you have sponsors, then you hope that you're actually involved in a battle. Because if you take Formula One, there are actually people out there that they go and analyze a race, that they go to the sponsors and say, you got 4 minutes and 31 seconds of exposure in the Formula One race. Now, the race leader will, in this case, not be getting good value for money. That's Jason and his teammate Chris, because they so far ahead, as well as Adrian now, that their sponsors wouldn't have got much airtime anyway. But yeah, Dennis has switched to that race leader now. He's coming up onto the Porsche. I didn't get the number. He's probably going to be lapping that Porsche ahead of him.
Yeah.
So, is that Dinesh?
No, Dinesh is Ferrari. That would be either Julian or Wessel. The other Porsche would be a D, but he's had a DNF.
Yeah, then it's probably Vessel, because Vessel's running in 14th, and Vessel's way ahead of Stan, which we've mentioned
Number 40, which I think is Julian.
Julian is number 40, yes.
Yes.
He's catching up to him.
I see he was flashing him earlier, but he didn't catch him very fast. So he was flashing when he was quite far behind. Now he does that just to let the drivers know that he is catching, because you see him flashing again. The drivers have been told that the leaders will flash to let you know that they are there. But the driver being passed is not obligated to drive off the track to allow the leader pass. The leader has to make the pass.
Often changing the racing line, how shall we say it, doing the totally unexpected is what you shouldn't do, is because that might cause collisions. Let's see, 7 seconds still between Jason and Adrian, and 15 seconds between Adrian and Chris Collison. Jason's still running 144.5. We'll see it when they cross the finish line. Because he's quicker than anybody near him. He's the only, with the two cars, him and Adrian Null, the last lap, were in the 144s. Everybody else was 145s and worse. Let's see what JP does, a 147 the last lap. Well, it was actually 46, but then he just came across personal best in sector 1, but he doesn't get a very good sector 2. Let's have a look where anything else is happening. Still Andre Dippenaar and Rian van der Westhuizen. That's hotting up for 7th and 8th. So that's number 69 and number 9. And only 0.9 of a second further back is Richard Sillier. So 7th, 8th, and 9th has all of a sudden turned into a battle.
Yes.
So there's Rian trying to hold off the PZN cars, and in so doing, he's allowing the second of the PZN cars to actually catch up. And there the pass is made. Or is it? No, it's not. He had track position, but he just couldn't hold on to that. So again, up the inside. This is 3 BMWs, if I look, my eyes don't deceive me.
Yes, one getting out of shape there, and the teammate about to come past him because of it.
It's exactly what we were saying earlier on. So very interesting here, this battle between teammates, and also now the three of them, those 3 BMWs, and the one in front of them, of course, is not in the same team. So that's Peter Murray. No, it's not Peter Murray. It's Rian van der Westhuizen, Andre Dippenaar, and Richard Sillier. So 2 sets of 0.3 of a second between Rian and Jandre and Richard. So that's the fight for 7th, 8th, and 9th position. Really close stuff with 7 3/4 minutes to go.
Back there, Andre.
Yeah, where do you put the car? You don't want to slow your own racing line. I think the best would probably be to run your normal racing line and let the other guy do all the hard work, because going offline, but then again, you don't want to leave the door open, because if he puts enough of the car up the inside, then you cannot defend, because then you're going to take the two of you out. But the PZN car is right there with him and then some. And then it leans away to the right, and the first PZN car has made the pass. And has he slowed himself down such that the second of the PZN cars goes past him as well? Yes, indeed.
Indeed, he lost quite a lot there with that slide.
Yeah. So change, and that's not what he would have wanted to see. So they swap positions, and certainly a great race that this is turning out to be. So Jandre Dippenaar now leads Richard Sillier from Rian van der Westhuizen for 7th, 8th, and 9th. And the battle will be on between Jandre and Richard, because even though they're teammates, they'll still be fighting for that 7th and 8th position. Across the finish line to complete one more lap, and they seem to settle into those positions that they've just taken away from. I wouldn't say aggrieved, but Rian van der Westhuizen was holding on for as long as he could. If you look at the last lap, Rian ran a 148.4, Richard did a 147.2, and the Andre did a 146.2. So one would expect the pass to have been made. And still Jason and Adrian running in the 144s. Let's see what the soft compounder JP Sillier He's now 46 seconds behind Vessel Viljoen. So I'm not sure that the pit stop would have done him any good. He was actually chasing Stan, who in the meantime has passed Dani Stander. So Stan has made up a position unnoticed by us. He's up into 14th position.
I wonder if that's from someone else dropping down. Because the gap between himself and the drivers, I think it's Vessel Viljoen. He was ahead and he had quite a big gap, so I think he's dropped down to 16th.
Yes. Yeah, so Vessel, Dani, Stan Besaidnout is ahead of Dani Standard by 2 seconds, and then it's 15 seconds further back to Vessel Viljoen. So whether he had a moment or what, it doesn't show a last lap time for Vessel. So not sure why that would be, but that might indicate why he has in fact dropped down. But Stan's going to say thank you very much, and he'll have to concentrate because Dani Stander is only 1.2 seconds behind him, and the last time Dani Stander was all of 5 seconds quicker than Stan Besaidnout. So one could expect if you can catch Dani or Stan, then I expect a pass to be made pretty quickly.
You see Audra now catching up to Julian. Julian getting quite sideways in some of the corners.
Car number 40, if it's Julian, uses onto the gravel, and of course when you got the dirt on the rubber, it doesn't grip for quite a while until you get rid of it again. And there's the pit lane exit to get off the circuit, and this is the straight, and this is where he's going to position for the pass. Is Adrian, you've got to get up on the inside, and that is on the left because the chicane goes left, and he does it quite easily actually. So everything's still to fight for with only how many minutes to go? Under 4, and the lap times are 1 3/4 minutes. So depending when Jason crosses the finish line, he's just completed sector 1. So he's going to do this lap, another one. We might still have this lap plus 2 more, thereabouts.
These two are having a battle, Dani and Stan, and right behind them is Adrian trying to get past, but these two are having a fight for their lives for position here.
And he tries to come through the middle, and that upsets Stan. He gets past, but Stan manages to get the car back onto the road and hold on to the position. But has that allowed the number 40 car to get ahead of Stan? We'll just have to double check where Stan has got. Yeah, Dani Stander has passed Stan as Stan is down into 15th again. So that change did happen, that I mentioned that Dani Stander had a 147 the last lap and Stan a 151. So Stan is 17 seconds ahead of Vessel Viljoen, so that's not going to be a challenge, I don't think. Let's see what's happening anywhere else. It's still Jandre Dippenaar and Pieter Marais that are less than half a second. That's for 6th and 7th, cars number 420 and car number 9. So Jandre has caught up to Pieter Marais, if I've got that right. So, and he drags Richard Cilliers along with him. So that's
correct, yeah.
Yeah, 6th and 7th. 6th is still not done and dusted, although Pieter himself is 53 seconds behind Timo Smit in the Minions car. So there's no change going to happen there. But Jandre in car number 9, that's the PZN panel beaters car, that might still be going for position. There's Jandre. Oh, look at the spin. The back end gets happy. Oh, there's contact between the two, and that's unlucky to say. There's wheels all over the place, and is that not the second bad news event for Jandre in this series already? I expect we're going to get some DNFs. Let's just go and have a look at the lap scoring monitor. They don't pop up as yet, but certainly that was, I think, just a racing incident. It was, the car just spun.
Peter's trying to drive away. Oh, and he's caught the leader as well. I don't think he realized he had lost his front wheel.
Now the question is the damage to the leader such that Jason can't run the remaining 1 minute and 20 seconds? So he still puts in a sector 2 time of 37 seconds, does Jason. Let's see what his sector 3 time is like. The guys that are running have been doing 43s, 44s. I didn't take note of Jason's sector 3 time. That was a decent knock as well. Yeah, DNF to Pieter Marais, DNF to Jandre Dippenaar. So that was a bad accident for the two of them. And let's just see what Jason, whether he's going to survive this race. Because if he doesn't, then Adrian Nell's going to inherit the lead with 47 seconds to go.
That could, depending on the number of laps,
No,
they have
he's still
completed enough
running.
laps.
He's just, I think he got past, there's 33 seconds to go, and he's just finished sector 3. So this, in my imagination, would then be the last lap.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah. So now the timer counts down, and also it's nice to see on the top of the lap scoring monitor, it shows where the race leader and everybody else is in relation to the circuit. So they've completed about a third of the circuit length now, and we're in about 3-2-1. You'll probably see time run out pretty soon, and we'll wait for the checked flag. So there's time run out, and when the race leader crosses the line next, that'll be the race run. So just have a look, see what does he do. Jason does a sector 1 time of 27.6, which is slow by his standards, but it's fast enough to keep him ahead of Adrian. Adrian did a 26.2.
But Adrian still has the fastest, he's just done the fastest middle sector, and he currently has the fastest lap, so we'll get that extra bonus point.
Yes. Jason did a 35. Let's see what happens now with the gap. 2.8. I've back up to 3 again. So it depends where they are on the track again. But 3 seconds, you certainly can't relax. Last lap, you can't make a mistake. And we saw there what influence a back marker had on the race leader. It was almost bad news. But I think the race leader is going to come up now. Was that the pit lane exit? Yes, it was.
All right,
so this is going to check a
checkered
flag.
Yep. It looks like he is damaged. The car's sort of moving around a bit, so just in time.
Yeah, there you go. Checkered flag comes out.
Adrian second, 2.7 back, so that gap came down a lot.
Yes. What a setup, or what a change that was. And I think if you go and do the rewind or the relook, it was just the back end stepped out, and in so doing, it picked up the PZN car that had nowhere to go, and they just didn't finish the race. So Peter Marais, Jandre Dippenaar just joining each other on the wrong part of the track at the time that they did. But I think it was Peter that the car stepped out and Jandre just hit him. Car appeared in front of him and he had nowhere to go. Once again, I'm not a judge of fact. I'm not a steward. So that's just the way that I saw it. And the stewards might decide otherwise. But yes, an interesting race that was finishing a lot closer at the end than what we anticipated.
And in the end, the biggest benefactor from it was Richard, the teammate of Jandre.
Yes.
Two battling in front, taking each other out, and he just said, "Thank you very much, I'll come through into 6th place."
Yeah, that's not good for the team, but Richard will be take what he can get. And Julian finishing a solid 10th. Stan getting 13th in the end with those two cars dropping off. So he's going to be, I should imagine, quite happy with 13th, considering that he was holding on to 15th. Not for dear life, but that's what he had. And at the end of the day, he ended up with a 13th position. Harvey Gous, 1 position outside of the points in 16th. And JP Sillier, the last point scoring position at 15th.
All right, I think we're going to jump to an ad break now while we go and find our top 3 drivers. So we'll be back with you shortly.
Speak to you then.
Are you or someone you know a victim of a car crash, or a legal professional seeking help in a crash investigation case? Look no further than IBF International. At IBFUSA, we specialize in at-scene crash evidence preservation, evidence analysis, crash reconstruction, and court testimony. We have over 20 years of experience in at-scene and post-event crash investigations in most of Southern Africa and the rest of the world. We not only provide assistance to crash victims and legal professionals, but we also offer training to those who wish to pursue a career in crash forensics. Our goal is to empower our clients with the knowledge and tools they need to navigate the often complicated world of crash investigations. Our slogan is IBF International. The facts speak for themselves. and we stand by it. We provide expert guidance and assistance to help you with insurance repudiation, expert testimony, and trial assistance. We believe that the facts should always be the driving force in any crash investigation, and we are committed to providing you with the most accurate and thorough analysis possible. If you're looking for an expert to guide you through a crash investigation, look no further than IBFUSA. For more information or to engage our services, visit our website at www.ibfusa.info. Are you or someone you know a victim of a car crash, or a legal professional seeking help in a crash investigation case? Look no further than IBF International. At IBFUSA, we specialize in at-scene crash evidence preservation, evidence analysis, crash reconstruction, and court testimony. We have over 20 years of experience in at-scene and post-event crash investigations in most of Southern Africa and the rest of the world. We not only provide assistance to crash victims and legal professionals, but we also offer training to those who wish to pursue a career in crash forensics. Our goal is to empower our clients with the knowledge and tools they need to navigate the often complicated world of crash investigations. Our slogan is IBF International. The facts speak for themselves, and we stand by it. We provide expert guidance and assistance to help you with insurance repudiation, expert testimony, and trial assistance. We believe that the facts should always be the driving force in any crash investigation, and we are committed to providing you with the most accurate and thorough analysis possible. If you're looking for an expert to guide you through a crash investigation, look no further than IBFUSA. For more information or to engage our services, visit our website at www.ibfusa.info. Are you or someone you know a victim of a car crash, or a legal professional seeking help in a crash investigation case? Look no further than IBF International. At IBFUSA, we specialize in at-scene crash evidence preservation, evidence analysis, crash reconstruction, and court testimony. We have over 20 years of experience in at-scene and post-event crash investigations in most of Southern Africa and the rest of the world. We not only provide assistance to crash victims and legal professionals, but we also offer training to those who wish to pursue a career in crash forensics. Our goal is to empower our clients with the knowledge and tools they need to navigate the often complicated world of crash investigations. Our slogan is IBF International. The facts speak for themselves, and we stand by it. We provide expert guidance and assistance to help you with insurance repudiation, expert testimony, and trial assistance. We believe that the facts should always be the driving force in any crash investigation, and we are committed to providing you with the most accurate and thorough analysis possible. If you're looking for an expert to guide you through a crash investigation, look no further than IBFU.
All right, welcome back everybody. Yes, we are now finished with round 4 from IMOLA of the Sim Experience South Africa IBF USA GT3 World Series. So we are joined tonight by our 3 top drivers, which are finishing first overall Jason Underwood, in second place overall Adrian Nell, and in third place overall Chris Collison. So we will start with you, Jason. A great round for you. It looked like, I'm just going to go straight to what I saw at the end. You looked like you were cruising, and then there were some issues with back markers, and you got a bit of damage as a result, and then suddenly the gap was coming down between yourself and Adrian. Did you panic perhaps towards the end there?
There was a bit of nerves. There were 2 back markers fighting for position, and then they spun, and then I just T-boned them. I had nowhere else to go, and then I had a steering wheel at 90 degrees for a lap and a half, and I thought, yeah, here he comes. And I think the gap at the end was only just under 2 seconds or something from the 8 seconds. So, yeah, 1 more lap, and I think I was in a lot of trouble. But got over the line, thankfully.
I noticed at certain points when you exited the corner of the car, I sort of got the twitch. Obviously, that was where the 90 degrees was a bit difficult.
Yeah, it's not fun. It's but anyway, thank goodness it happened with 1 lap to go. If it was 3 or 4 laps to go, then it would have been a different story.
All right, then Adrian, great to see you finally having a good result. You've had a lot of bad luck in the series with disconnects and all sorts of other issues. So finally a good complete round for you, and second overall. So great round. Looked like you might catch Jason towards the end. Did you think you were going to catch him?
I was quite surprised. I thought Jason might have ran out of fuel because I was doing a lot of fuel saving. So I can't actually have enough in the tank for it to go flat out from get-go. But Jason was bloody fast. I was trying to keep the gap, but I was just making small mistakes, and he'd pull half a second out. I'll maintain the gap for 3 laps, and he'll pull another half a second out. Yeah. Well, good driving on his side.
Yeah, well done. And Chris, coming home in third, I believe this is your worst result of the championship so far, which I guess is a good thing. You're still on the podium, but only in third. You should maintain your championship lead. But it looked like you just didn't have the overall edge over Jason. Jason just seemed to dominate this round pace-wise. So were you just taking it easy, just taking the points, or were you trying your hardest today?
In the end, I was just taking the points. But to be fair, I felt from the very beginning that Jason and Adrian had better pace than I did. I was lucky probably to still finish second in the sprint race. And in the second race, when Adrian came past me, totally legitimate overtake. We had the slightest of rubs together, and I received quite heavy aero damage. But to be fair, from that point, I always felt that third, well, before that anyway, I felt that third was probably the best finish I could have got tonight. So overall, actually pretty satisfied in the end.
Great stuff. Sean, any questions that you would like to ask the drivers?
Just to Jason, what did you do differently tonight that you were, even except for the accident that almost cost you the race, that you were consistently putting in such good sector times compared to Adrian. I mean, they were just nowhere near you. You were quicker than them all, sector for sector, consistently. Although Adrian did get the best lap, I think, in the end, but that was earlier in the race. What did you do? A different setup? But your car just seemed to be going so well tonight.
Yeah, I'll be honest. It's the first week that Chris and I have actually sat down and thought, all right, we need to create some sort of setup for this car. Previously, everything's been on default. So we got a nice little setup going, and we just got in tune with it. So yeah, just basically just knuckling down and, you know, getting the best out of the car for this track. Obviously, next week is completely different. So, but yeah, I mean, it's the first week I've actually had a chance to sit down if I'm not playing cricket. So next week I'm back to cricket again on the weekend. But yeah, the car felt good, really. The car felt good.
Yep. Yeah. And Adrian, your quickest lap time gaining you a bonus point. How did that differ, or was it just that you happened to get all the sectors spot on for that fast lap?
Right, to be honest, I got myself a new sim rig, so I'm also still getting used to it. And I was playing around with the setup a lot, struggling with the car with corner entries, but at least I could put the lap together there. Yeah, it was not a perfect lap, but it was decent enough.
Interesting. You also mentioned that you theoretically didn't actually have enough fuel to go at the pace you wanted to. We did have one car come in to do tire change, go from the whatever he did have to softs. You never did any of you ever consider a tire change, or was it only the fuel that was a factor?
It's usually just the fuel. The tires last quite long. These cars are made to drive an hour stint usually. So yeah, just depends on track to track, but yeah, usually the tires last.
Okay, that's about it. Back to you, Dennis.
All right. Well, then perhaps we can just do final goodbyes to everyone. So if you want to have your final say, anything you want to say, any shout outs? Jason, let's start with you.
Yeah, thanks again. Good to be back in the circle. Congrats to Adrian and Chris. I think top three were well ahead of everyone else, so congrats. Pace was always good. Dennis, thanks once again. Sean, once again. And to all the supporters that will be watching this in the next half an hour. Enjoy.
Great stuff. And then, Adrian, any final words from yourself?
No, I just want to say thanks to Dennis for the service always, and the amazing footage and stuff you guys put together for the streams. It's next level compared to anyone else's stuff that they put together. And to the other drivers, to Chris and them, yeah, good to see the racing as well, and the pace was amazing, super fast.
Always a pleasure. And Chris, any final words from your side?
Yeah, it's a pleasure to take part. Congratulations to the first two today, thoroughly deserved it. And also Stanton, I want to mention, who was never far away in my mirror for the whole race, kept me on my toes again. Thanks to you guys for all your efforts and all the other racers. It's great fun. I'm really enjoying it. So cheers.
Always a pleasure. All right, then I'm going to just drop you guys into your own channel again. So goodbye, and hope you guys enjoy the races, and we will chat to you guys next week. But Sean, we have a few more rounds left to go. That was now round 4 completed. So after round 4, we will be heading off to America, to Long Beach. So a totally different circuit. Now we'll be heading into a street circuit, a much tighter, more dangerous circuit. There are walls everywhere. The mistakes that we saw here in turn 1 in both races, there it's going to be a different story. There's no runoff there. If you make a mistake, you're into a solid barrier wall. Do you think the drivers are going to be driving any more cautiously there?
I would expect them to remap the whole way that they drive. If you look what happened in the start of the sprint race, we had 2 big incidents before we even got to the first hairpin. So I think the strategy and the approach will be very different on a street circuit which has no runoff. and walls are very unforgiving to motor cars. They tend to win the battle, and I think the drivers will keep that in mind. I think the time we heard it in the question and answer session we had with the podium competitors, that the time spent in the car and actually doing some setup is going to be paramount for the street circuit, and I really look forward to it.
I wonder if tyre wear will be different there because it's much slower pace-wise. You don't have the cornering speed that is where most of your tyre wear comes from. The lateral forces is what rubs the tyres. Will the tyres last any better, do you think?
Or the other question, where a lot of the guys ran on the hard compound tonight, do you think they might change to start the race, as you say, because it's slower and you don't have the fast speeds going out of the corners? They might even attempt to run a race on the mediums.
I think we're going to see that. I think medium will probably be the tyre of choice. There might even be some that would attempt maybe a soft run. We'll certainly test it out. Depending on how the abrasive surface is, it might last longer than they expect.
Yeah, it's interesting now that you put the circuit still to be run. This has been such a lot of fun that once we speak to each other this time next week, we will be halfway through the championship.
It's amazing how fast it's gone. I was actually looking at it while doing the graphics and thinking, oh wow, we've actually gone halfway already.
Yeah. So it's Long Beach in California, is it?
I believe that's correct, yes.
Yeah. It's going to be very different to this and to Nürburgring and to wherever we've been, Twinring, Motegi. Well, if you just look at all the space and the runoff that has, that of course is going to be nil at Long Beach. And I think, as we say, the big factor will be that the drivers, not so much the setup to the car, but the setup to their own mind, that they have to approach every single lap very conscientiously.
Well, that brings us to the end of it. So we will catch you then next week for Long Beach, which should be exciting, as Sean has alluded to there. So until then, have a good week, and we will catch you all next week. Good evening.
Good night, everybody.